Tenki, Oki, hello and bonjour. Thank you for joining us for the announcement and of the first projects to be identified for funding through the CRIN's Digital Oil and Gas Technology Competition. My name is Ginny Flood and I'm the board chair for the Clean Resource Innovation Network, commonly known as CRIN. And I will be joined today by my co-host, Young Wu, the CEO of Mars Discovery District. Mars partnered with CRIN as an independent coordinator of this competition, and we value their expertise and leadership in the global innovation community and in the innovation economy. So to start, I just think it's important that we acknowledge the land in which we are gathering on today. And since we are coming together virtually from across the country, I'd like you to take a moment to acknowledge that wherever you are on the traditional lands of Indigenous people. I'm participating in this virtual meeting from the traditional lands of the Lukwajan peoples, known today as the Esquimalt and the Saugnes Nations, whose historical relationship with the land continue to this day. This land encompasses my home in Victoria, British Columbia. As a way to acknowledge the traditional lands you may be on, I ask that you add your location and land acknowledgements in the chat. And if you don't know, I encourage you to seek this out as part of your own personal journey of reconciliation. So let's get started. I'm just going to go through a little bit of what we're going to be talking about and what the agenda is going to look like. So Young is going to start things off with comments on the importance of investing in the oil and gas clean tech innovation, and to provide some national and international context on the milestones we are celebrating here today. Today, I will provide an overview of the competition before we have a drum roll to reveal the successful projects. Unfortunately, we can't profile all the projects today, but we will be joined later in the program by representatives of 2 of those projects, and we'll get a peek at their projects and a chance to chat with them. We'll have a few minutes at the end of the event for members of the media to ask questions. Note that in anticipation of possible questions about the competition process, we have also on hand for the media Q&A section from Mars team, Alex Ryan, Senior Vice President, Partner Solutions, and Tim Look, Project Manager. Members of the media, please enter your name and the media affiliation in the Q&A at any time that you would like to ask a question. And when we get to the Q&A segment, we will call on you and enable your microphone. Please limit yourself to 1 question and 1 follow-up question. When called upon, please state your name, media affiliation, and who the question is directed to. Members of the audience who are not media are invited to share comments or questions in the chat, and we will follow up after the event. And thank you everyone for attending to these points of order. Now let's jump into the business of the day that has brought us all together. So with the housekeeping established, and those who are not familiar with CRIN, I'd like to introduce you to the Network of Networks organization through a short video about CRIN. So if we could play the video.
The Clean Resource Innovation Network, CRIN for short, is a Canadian initiative founded with the purpose of enabling cleaner energy development by commercializing and adopting technologies for the oil and gas industry that reduce environmental impact across the energy sector. To achieve this goal, CRIN is focused on 7 theme areas. By sharing expertise and knowledge across a range of sectors and focusing on the theme areas that will have the largest impact on the environment, CRIN is committed to making progress on many environmental challenges, including one of the most pressing, climate change. Sharing ideas from across the network will be focused on identifying key challenges or solutions that will have the greatest impact on improving the oil and gas industry's environmental performance. And that's CRIN's foundation. Diverse collaborative members, a shared passion for innovation, and the common goal of leading the global transformation to a cleaner energy future. support CRIN's clean energy goals. The Canadian government, through innovation, science, and economic development, has invested $100 million over 4 years to enable CRIN to execute 3 large-scale technology competitions for high-impact projects with clear paths to commercialization. Innovators and clean tech companies from around the world are encouraged to bring their ideas, energy, and spirit to CRIN. Join CRIN today to stay up to date on upcoming technology competitions and events. Collaborate with diverse people in like-minded communities. Connect with other sectors and people working across the network to see how you can help each other. For more information about CRIN and to register for our no-cost membership, visit cleanresourceinnovation.com. Welcome to the network.
Thank you, Ginny. I'm so excited to be here today. And I just think that today is a perfect example of the hope and progress that's actually possible when science and innovation and entrepreneurship all come together to meet policymakers and industry. And it really requires that, doesn't it, for us to tackle these huge challenges that we face. We can see that collaboration between people and organizations, diverse perspectives, skills, experiences. That's what creates and scales solutions that can address these challenges. In particular today, climate change and economic growth. And I'm going to put the focus on the and, not the or. Climate change and economic growth in what is truly a multi-trillion-dollar climate economy that's growing around us right now. Now, I've had a multi-decade career as a serial founder, entrepreneur, and investor in tech startups. And so I've seen the movie of what it takes to grow a venture into a global powerhouse company. And here's what I want to say. We don't have an innovation problem in Canada. You're going to see them today. And you're going to be amazed, as I have been, at hearing their stories. What we have is we have an adoption problem. And this collaboration with CRIN is intended to solve that exact choke point. To achieve adoption at scale, innovators first need customers. They first need early adopters that are willing to share in the risks and the rewards of basically building their businesses and moving away from business as usual. It's really interesting that at this stage, when I built all my companies, it was really as a private sector entrepreneur, but I can truly see in 2021 going on 2029, going on 2050, governments have to proactively and intentionally remove policy barriers for these entrepreneurs and for private sector to actually scale new technologies, to prioritize made in Canada intellectual property, and to provide large-scale investments into strategic market opportunities. They actually need organizations that can connect the dots between the innovation and the solutions and the industry itself that's transforming our sectors. It's also pretty interesting to note that 75% of clean tech investment actually comes from the oil and gas sector, about 1.4 billion per year. So this is not about small pocket change. This is about making major impact. And today's announcements illustrate perfectly what happens when all of these ingredients, all of these stakeholders, all of them coming together in their own enlightened self-interest, what that can do. We have a federal government who's making a material investment into winning companies through this challenge and through the CRIN prizes. We have an oil and gas sector. It's by far the largest investor, fastest adopter of clean tech in Canada. They're critical, essential partners in every one of these winning solutions. And by the way, the solutions that they're adopting and investing into and recognizing today, they have an impact that goes beyond oil and gas. So this is the power of investing into technology today that can have an impact tomorrow across all sectors. CRIN has demonstrated the vision and the leadership that creates the market pull to accelerate commercialization and adoption through the use of an open innovation challenge. And we at Mars are just absolutely thrilled to be partnering with CRIN as a knowledgeable, neutral third party to design and run the digital oil and gas innovation challenge process. So all that being said, I just want to put the focus on where the real stars of the show are. It's the innovators themselves. These are the solution developers, the entrepreneurs who are not just building tools and equipment, they're actually contributing to the development of a world-leading clean tech industry in Canada. This is a multi-trillion-dollar economy, and I think Canada has the opportunity to have an asymmetrical presence in the economy of the future. And the technologies that are developed in the oil and gas sector are transferable. Agriculture, forestry, heavy manufacturing, many other industries. So maximizing this industry includes post-secondary and other learning, training, research programs to develop a highly skilled workforce, because there's no way for us to travel this journey to net zero without bringing our workforce along with us, and creating accessible, well-paying careers through the creation of small, medium-sized businesses right across this entire country from coast to coast to coast. New technologies, such as those that are being awarded today, they're going to offer the breakthrough sustainable energy solutions that Canada and the world need and seek. They will decrease cost while increasing efficiency, productivity, and safety. I've got the privilege of sitting on the federal government's net zero advisory body, which is providing the government with advice on how Canada can achieve its emission reduction targets. And certainly many of our deliberations and discussions, I just want to be clear about something. There is no pathway to net zero without breakthrough innovation. And there's no pathway to net zero breakthrough innovation without adoption of these solutions at scale by the energy and natural resources industries. These sectors continue to be vital to Canada's economic growth and job creation, but we cannot do it at the expense of the environment. Industry has a long history of innovation and partnership, and we've got to capitalize that. In fact, my challenge to industry and to governments is to be bolder, is to move faster with a sense of urgency, because we're working with a fixed time clock. The prize is asymmetrical success in the economy of the future. So that's it. Our continued commitment to collaboration and investment in clean tech collectively, that's what's going to drive transformation for us here at home and position us as leaders in the global innovation economy. So I think it's time to meet just some extraordinary people and their innovative technologies. I'd like to turn this back to Ginny, and let's get it started.
Perfect. Thank you, Young. It's clear that our two organizations are very well aligned. And as we saw in the video, CRIN is created to bring together the many stakeholders in the oil and gas innovation ecosystem to accelerate the development and deployment of technology that will address environmental and economic challenges faced by the oil and gas industry. These challenges are significant and include the drive to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions to achieve net zero. No one organization, as you said, no one group or project or sector can do it alone. And it really does require a collaboration by all stakeholders. So over 3,100 people and organizations are members of CRIN today, representing all sectors of the ecosystem, entrepreneurs, and clean tech solution developers, like the folks you'll meet shortly. Producers, accelerators such as Mars, governments, investors, post-secondary institutions, researchers, youth, and young professionals, and many others. From across Canada, people with diverse perspectives, skills come together through CRIN to share knowledge, to create new partnerships, and to collaborate. To be successful requires all of us to work together, and CRIN is the place to do that. So if you're not a member of CRIN, I would strongly encourage you to join today. And together we will bring the technology forward that will achieve the goal of a fully sustainable oil and gas industry that supports Canada's demand for a diverse energy system and environmental stewardship. So today we are here to celebrate an important step towards that goal. The Digital Oil and Gas Technology Competition is the first one of 3 oil and gas technology competitions that CRIN is running simultaneously. The competitions will award a total of 80 million, made possible by the investment from the Government of Canada's Strategic Innovation Fund. These CRIN technology competitions use the collaborative model that is foundational to CRIN. Project teams are made up of small and medium-sized enterprises, usually the technology developer and the industry producer. The participation of industry is vital to provide field testing, additional investment, and market confidence that is required to progress technology through to commercialization and into widespread adoption, which, as Young says, is the issue, where it is intended that the outcomes and benefits for the environment and for job creation and global exports can be realized. It is really a team sport. So CRIN's Digital Oil and Gas Technology Competition, which we are celebrating here today, received 120 initial submissions, originating from 5 Canadian provinces. That number was whittled down to 32 fully eligible applications. A rigorous review process overseen by Mars and an independent fairness monitor has resulted in 6 projects being identified for a total funding of $4 million. The 6 projects have a combined estimate value of nearly 12 million. So you can see the leveraging of those partners and the collaborators at work. Each project addresses at least one of 4 focus areas of the competition: environmental monitoring, health and safety, capital project execution, and operational excellence and efficiency. These digital projects that you will learn about today are enabling technologies, many of them supporting vital detection and monitoring activities for methane emissions, necessary to understand and build the strategy for taking appropriate actions that will result in reduced GHG emissions. Others apply leading and emerging technology to keep workers and wildlife safe from harm. All of them demonstrate world-class innovation and Canadian leadership in the application of artificial intelligence, machine learning, digital twinning, Internet of Things, infrared cameras, robotics, even several that fly, and masses of data to support the effective decision-making. It's incredibly impressive. And these projects will help to carry Canada closer to the environmental and sustainability goals. A diverse, secure energy future, and a Canadian leadership in the global clean tech economy. I'm going to hand it over to Young.
Hi, Jenny. Looks like my video is stuck, but all you need is my voice right now, so no big deal. First of all, thank you for that. And these are just absolutely exciting breakthrough projects. I think we need to start opening some envelopes and announcing who the featured entrepreneurs and companies are. So let's have that drum roll. Let's start meeting these successful entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you.
So the first project I'd like to introduce is the Automated Wildlife Detection Network and Robert Deterrence System by Arium Analytics. And they are recommended $1 million from the CRIN funding.
Amazing. The next, we have the Intelligent Robotic Inspection, contact-based inspection using tethered flying robots. This is by Avestech. And this project is recommended for $750,000 of CRIN funding.
Our next project is machine learning for false positive elimination of continuous methane monitoring with low-cost IR cameras by Kuva System, and they're recommended for $760,000 of CRIN funding.
Next, we have the emission reduction through continuous monitoring and artificial intelligence, a topic after my own heart, by Cube Technologies. And Cube's project is recommended for nearly $213,000 of CRIN funding.
Our next project is AI-driven Internet of Things, enabled connected worker solution for better safety, productivity, and environmental performance by Sensor Up, and it's recommended for $500,000 of CRIN funding.
And I'm so pleased to announce that digital twinning legacy facilities, unified data for environmental safety and productivity improvements. Very, very cool. This is by Virum Inc. And Virum's project is recommended for just over $775,000 of CRIN funding. Not pocket change, folks.
So I want to congratulate all of these project leaders and their many collaborator partners and team members. And after the event, I encourage everyone to visit www.acceleratingcleanenergy.com to watch all the project videos. And as mentioned earlier, we are going to meet two of these project leaders. So firstly, I want to welcome Vancouver-based Riza Tavakoli, CEO of Avitstech, to tell us about their flying robot that is improving the safety of workers who have traditionally performed necessary but high-risk, time-consuming facility inspection. We're just going to play a video and then we're going to have a conversation with Riza.
Hello everyone, my name is Riza Tavakoli. I'm the CEO of Avitstech, a tech company based in Vancouver, BC. Traditional inspection method offered by rope accessing or installed scaffolding, which is unsafe, expensive, and time-consuming. We believe we have much better solution in Avitstech. We offer intelligent robotic inspection using tethered flying robots to provide contact-based inspection to fulfill all current industrial inspection standards. Our technology reduces time and cost of inspection, enhance operational excellence, and by providing complete monitoring of assets, we prevent any environmental catastrophe. In addition of all of the economic and environmental advantages, we eliminate human at risk for doing inspection using our AI and asset visualization capabilities. So we provide evidence-based decision for the asset owners and the service providers. We received great traction from different sectors worldwide. Our main focus is in oil and gas. We validated our technology with most of the oil producers in North America. Our main client is Shell. They help us a lot through the development and valuable input to form the technology towards where we are at the moment. We're really excited to be selected as a finalist from CRIN Award. Really appreciate CRIN and Mars for selecting us. We're also very confident using that award so we can accelerate our commercialization path forward and offer our technology worldwide in the next couple of years.
Welcome, Riza, and congratulations to you and your team. I just wanted to ask you, as someone working in the clean tech, what draws you to the oil and gas industry, and what are the benefits and challenges with working with this sector to advance your technology?
Thank you, Jenny. And before answering, I would like to thank all of you guys that put a lot of effort. Every startup likes funding, and we do, but the validation that we're getting from the industry expert to select our technology and business is much more appreciated. Honestly, we got a lot of awards in the clean tech, and we got that question that we're working with oil and gas, and I think maybe that's the kind of a wrong message that we have in the public domain, that oil and gas are not our enemy. And they have quite a bit of capital, and they have a lot of knowledge for the capital project. And for a technology like us, we always need the guidance to make sure that we address the pain the client facing. Developing a cool technology in a cave doesn't solve the problem. And we really appreciate the sectors. And in my opinion, I think that the oil and gas can be a breakthrough for the energy transition as well. So they've done a lot of capital projects. They have the knowledge that how to adopt the technology. We just need to make sure that, how we can accelerate that adoption, as Young mentioned as well. So the main issue here is adoption and acceleration through that adoption.
Perfect. So your technology addresses all 4 of the focus areas in this competition. And it's clear how your tethered flying robots significantly reduce cost, time, safety concerns for inspection. So how does this technology benefit the environment? So if you could just talk a few minutes about that, that would be awesome.
Sure. I mean, we can look at it in a different approach when it comes to the traditional energy providers. So we can enhance monitoring. So if you have the new technology, you can, have more data. I mean, all of the AI and machine learning is going to be meaningful if you have a lot of data. So the traditional methods cannot lead us to provide, proper prediction about what's going on the asset, so we can, mitigate any risk of the failure for the asset. As well as when it comes to the new technology, if we can, adoption of the new technology or new energy, we need to look at the big picture. Is not just the wind turbines or a hydrogen plant. So we need to change the inspection methodology as well. We need to change all of the practices we've done in the traditional. So I guess our technology can help to increase the efficiency of those and basically brings the efficient plant in the future.
Well, thank you, Riza, and congratulations again to you and your team. I'm now going to pass it over to Young to introduce the next project, but I think, this conversation just sparks a lot more questions. Over to you, Young.
Thanks, Ginny. And amazing initiative, Riza.
Thank you.
Now I get to talk with Monica Cipolla from Cuva. And I'd like to introduce Monica, first of all. She's a director of business development with Cuva Systems. And Cuva has basically been able to develop an infrared methane detection camera. For those that are tracking this, you'd know that methane is about 84 times the toxicity of carbon dioxide in a 20-year segment. So this is huge. This, from an impact point of view, this is where the battle's got to be fought. So welcome, Monica. Now,
thank you.
Let's play a video and then let's get into some conversations about this.
My name is Monica Cipolla, and I'm the Director of Business Development for Cuva Systems. I'm based in Calgary, and this is the Cuva camera. Cuva helps oil and gas companies identify and address methane emissions with our patented infrared camera solution. At Cuva, we believe that continuous methane monitoring must be visual to be actionable, because you can't fix what you can't see. Our solution helps our customers find, quantify, and reduce their methane emissions. Our camera is installed at oil and gas sites to continuously monitor for methane emissions and creates colorized images of otherwise invisible emission plumes. Our system then sends an alert so that an oil and gas operator can see immediately which equipment is leaking. With this actionable information of eyes at the site, customers can respond and make mitigation plans without the need to go to the site for a manual inspection. Hosted at our producer partners, our project will incorporate machine learning to further automate our solution, reduce costs, and make continuous monitoring scalable and affordable for the industry. Benefits to Canada include reduction of methane emissions while creating more jobs in Canada. This project will also help advance the practical application of machine learning in Canada, which brings improved efficiencies and productivities all around. In the future, we look forward to deploying our solution at scale to help oil and gas producers across North America and beyond see their emissions to solve them and make a meaningful impact on methane emission reductions globally.
So I love this, Monica. Welcome, first of all, but this is truly where digital meets physical to drive impact. And being able to see a leak through infrared imaging, that allows, quick detection, effective response. Like several of the projects in this competition do address methane detection. And can you tell us a bit about how technologies like yours lead to emission reduction?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you to CRIN and to Mars for this opportunity. We're really grateful. It means a lot for our company. And so, Young, as you had mentioned earlier about the impact of methane. So methane is widely considered to be like the low-hanging fruit in the fight against climate change. And until now, methane emissions had just been monitored only occasionally via the air or with a handheld camera. And that doesn't really offer that same precision, that continuous monitoring that's really needed. And so at Cuva, we believe that continuous methane monitoring needs to be visual, to be truly actionable, so that operators can fix what you can't otherwise see. And with our infrared camera and our cloud monitoring solution, then we're providing oil and gas companies with timely image-based notifications. And that helps our customers then locate and pinpoint exactly where those emissions are happening. And that helps them improve their operations, reduce emissions. And I guess I just wanted to highlight in particular that by correlating our imagery with the customer's process data, then customers can then determine the root causes of those emissions to prevent those leaks from even happening in the first place, and to truly be able to see those emissions to solve them.
Amazing. You've also highlighted that methane is really such an important priority for our fight in the climate change piece. Do you believe Canada can achieve its aggressive targets for net zero by 2050? The snap question, why or why not?
Well, recently, the International Energy Agency paper that was just released a week or two ago called Canada 2022 was really addressing these various points and across a number of aspects of energy. And it made a number of important recommendations, and I'll just note a couple of them that are relevant here. One was that there needs to be a focus in the near term on methane emission reductions within the oil and gas industry. They labeled that as being essential to achieving rapid, large-scale reductions. And another critical point that they said is that collaboration is critical. And so really, we can only really meet those goals if we work together.
Fantastic. How do you actually sort of take that lens, broaden it out to Canada's overall clean tech industry? Beyond solving Canada's problems, do you see an opportunity for us to use innovations like yours and the ones that your company produces, Cuva, to actually lead the world and capitalize on the entire global innovation economy? Well, let's take a big, huge chunk of the global $1 trillion economy in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about scaling, right? I've worked in this innovation ecosystem for a while now, and I can say that there really is a strong innovation ecosystem here in Canada, and and we really must continue to innovate and cooperate to ensure that we do meet those goals. And really, I see that by investing and supporting innovation in the latter stages of development and commercialization to help bridge that to commercialization, then that allows that innovation and innovative companies like Cuva and the others that have been awarded here. And congratulations to the other companies as well, to truly scale our technologies and to really be able to make that meaningful impact. And certainly, it's organizations like CRIN and through vehicles like this competition that Mars has designed that are really being able to make that happen.
I'm so happy we had a chance to feature both of you today. And so thank you, Monica, and thank you, Riza, for representing your own companies. I'd also like to thank you for, representing your peers actually in the other projects in this competition. I'm a very, very proud, grateful to be Canadian immigrant to Canada who's extremely concerned about climate change and economic growth. And again, I focus on the and, not the or here. So I'm just so encouraged by what I've seen today. I'd like to invite the audience to visit www.acceleratingcleanenergy.com just to learn more about the projects we're celebrating today. They're fantastic. They're worth the visit. Ginny?
So again, congratulations. This brings us to the end of our planned program at this time. And now we will open up the line for media questions. And as mentioned, media can put their name and affiliation into the Q&A function. And I will turn it over to our operations team to manage the order of the calls and unmute each person in turn. So when you come off mute, please identify yourself, your media affiliation, and who you are directing your questions to. And please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up question if needed. So as a reminder, we also have a great panel of experts with diverse expertise and perspective ready to take your questions. Janice, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Ginny. Just while we allow a few minutes for people to put their questions in, I'll offer a question to keep the conversation going. We've heard great comments today about the importance of collaboration, investment, the opportunity to scale up. Are there any other elements of the puzzle that we haven't touched on today that any of you as panelists would like to address?
Jenny and I were just having a conversation about this yesterday as we were talking about the overall competition, but also the broader topics. And I really think that this is an opportunity for us to challenge all stakeholders. I'm talking governments, I'm talking, province to province to province, federally as well, our policymakers, our industry leaders, our innovators, our capital providers, owners, and investors, to just step it up, to be bolder about this. What's at stake is our ability to meet our own commitments, of course, by 2050, but also what's at stake as a jump ball for the global innovation economy in the climate space. This to me is the big one. We're coming out of the pandemic, we're re-emerging into a new economy, which is built on the back of the innovation economy, but the climate economy is the big one. This is a jump ball. I think we regularly punch above our weight on the innovation scale. We regularly basically perform in terms of the scale up piece. So this is our opportunity, but we got to be bold about this. What do you think, Jenny?
Janice, I'll just add to that. I think, CRIN is all about diversity and inclusion, making sure that we're hitting a broad audience, not just the oil and gas, but right out to our end users. That has always been our goal. So I think it's that diverse perspective and bringing collaborators together and bringing technology solutions with technology providers, which is such a key part of this innovation ecosystem.
And I think it also just leads to needing like well-designed competitions like this that are challenges to not only the innovators, but also to the industry to be able to find those ways to collaborate together. And so really by providing these competition kind of guidelines that provides that opportunity to be able to connect and find meaningful ways to be able to collaborate and then ultimately scale technologies and deploy them.
Yeah. Thank you. One of the things we haven't touched on too much today is the application outside of oil and gas. Anybody like to speak to the alignment of oil and gas with other industries and the opportunity that is developing technologies within oil and gas, but then there have much broader applications?
Yeah, certainly from our company's perspective, right now we're focused on the upstream and midstream oil and gas industry, but absolutely we are going to be taking aim at the downstream oil and gas industry, so petrochemicals, refineries, but also looking further than that. Landfill gas is just a logical one as well, and looking beyond. So certainly other applications, and as we continue to focus on feature development of our camera, we could certainly look at other gases too.
Yeah, I think it's most of the industry. I mean, in our case, is exactly the same as well. We started, and we still have our main client base in oil and gas. We started with onshore and offshore, but now we're getting traction from like marine market, chemical market. So they more or less follow each other. They have differences, But again, back into the same thing that everyone both said, is to be able to scale up. So we need to make sure that, accelerate the adoption in one market, and then adoption of different market is going to be much easier after.
And I think this is really a good reminder for us, Reza and Monica. I mean, these are late stage technologies. These are to be proven out, not to be proven out, but to be actually adopted, and with the partners that are with Avstec and Kuva and other partners. So I think that this is really key. And then, how that translates itself into other particularly large emitters, those sectors that have large emitting. I think it's incredibly exciting.
Maybe I can add to that, just back to my entrepreneurial experience myself. It's that capital never leads, capital follows. And typically what it follows is customer adoption. Flying robots in worker safety is not a oil and gas sector specific problem. But if you have adoption from the oil and gas industry, of course, it must be applied to other industries that are basically waiting for early adopters. The same thing with, machine learning and, infrared camera technology that can actually detect gases. This is widely applicable across a bunch of manufacturing sectors, but that first adoption, and hopefully with a major adopter from the oil and gas industry, kind of unlocks that pathway, doesn't it? So I think this is a critical piece of how we're certainly seeing both the innovators here as well as the actual network itself. And it truly is network effect, isn't it?
Exactly. And, most of the time, actually, the credit that you obtain from one sector, it makes it much, much easier towards the other sector.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Terrific conversation. I'm sorry, would you like to?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, it's all about being laser focused on your initial market rather than getting distracted by others. But yeah, certainly focusing in on that one first, and then expanding, taking over the world, as I like to say.
Terrific. What a great note to end on. Thank you, Monica. Apologies for interrupting you. Ginny, I will hand it back to you to wrap things up.
Well, as you can see, it's pretty exciting for CRIN, and I want to really thank everybody for joining us today. That is all the time we have for the questions, but I would encourage you to visit our websites and to find out more about the projects. We're always available to answer any question. And I also want to congratulate on behalf of CRIN, the 6 projects, and we look forward to working with you and hearing about your progress. So please be sure to join us for our next announcements on February 16th and March 9th. And the registration links are on the CRIN website. And don't forget to check out those project profiles on acceleratingcleanenergyinnovation.com or at cleanresourceinnovation.com/competitions. So that is the end of our program, and I wish everybody a very good day and rest of the week. Thank you, and thank you, Young, for co-hosting this event with me. It's so exciting to be working with Mars.
Well said, Ginny. 100% right back.